You guys just got done playing through the new survival mode in Vertical Slice 2, and you're super stoked about Space Engineers coming out. I am looking forward to seeing how they develop this, making it better. It's going to be awesome. And now you're like, you got that Space Engineers, you joined for that Space Engineers experience. And you've been away for a little while, and you're like, oh, I'm going to set up a server for me and my buddies. Well, you're like, yeah, I don't remember how. It's been a while. Happens to me every 6 months. So, um, yeah, today we're gonna do a video showing how to kind of go through that, set up a Torch server. Please keep in mind, I am not a YouTube content creator. I do not do this very often. Just thought it'd be fun to do this for my buddies, myself, and thought it might be helpful to some of you other guys out there. So I'll hopefully find it helpful. Welcome. We're gonna do a quick walkthrough on how to set up a Space Engineers dedicated server using Torch in 2025. Not a lot of probably new players of the game, but this is still good info if you're playing and you want to set up your own server. It's been a while. Like I do this every, I don't know, year, every 6 months or whatever, and I'm like, and I forget. So just go over it real quick. First thing you need to do is download two things. You're going to need to make sure this is installed on your machine before you try to run Torch or try to launch the server. So grab this. It doesn't matter if you get the x86 or x64. Grab this x64. You're a modern machine. It's fine. Works great. Anyway, install that. Download it, install it, and then you're going to go to torchapi.com. You're going to grab the newest version of Torch. You're going to download it. Cool. All right, so you got those two things. Those are what you're going to need right away. So once you have those, you're going to go to wherever you downloaded the folder. If you haven't installed this for Visual Studio yet, install it. Assuming you did that, we're going to extract this. We're going to extract this to, I don't know, wherever you want to put it. So in this case, I'm going to put it right on my C drive for this demo, but put it on whatever drive you want, wherever you want. I'm going to make a new folder for it. We're going to call it SE video. Now we're going to extract it. Now when you extract it here, it's just going to unzip the files into the folder that you gave it, told it to go. And you'll notice it's just Torch. There's no, server's not here. You don't have a Space Engineer server or anything yet. You just have Torch. And normally, we're going to use Steam Command to download the actual, we're going to use Torch to download, or Steam Command to download the server. So you can download Steam Command by itself, or you can just launch this, right? And run it as administrator. And it'll, yeah, and then you're going to run anyway. It's going to do the thing. I'm on Windows 10. I haven't upgraded to 11, but you can just same on 11. Anyway, just extract it or run Torch. It's not going to work. But what it's going to do is it's going to download Steam Command. Right? So it's downloaded Steam Command. They can kill this. This is all you need was Steam Command. So if you go here, now you got Steam Command. And if you launch steamcommand.exe, you'll get a window like this. This is important. We're going to download it from Steam Command. And the way we do that is we're going to tell it what directory to install it to. And we do that with force install dir, and then we give it a directory. And so we're going to say c:// se _ video, like that, right? So that it'll install it there. Log in as anonymous because you're just downloading a free, the Space Engineers dedicated server is free to download. Let's see, so we're going to say app update, and then the ID, the Steam ID for the dedicated server is 298740. So you download, probably because it's app update 298740. And then it's going to take a few minutes to download. Okay, so now we have the server installed. And you'll see here we have a dedicated server 64, and this is the actual Space Engineers dedicated server, which we're not going to actually run directly. That's what Torch is for. So we're going to run this as administrator. We can close out of this. Don't need Steam Command anymore. Okay, so now what we want to do is in here we're going to want to set up our server. the first thing you want to do is, before I do anything else in here, like, just a little, it's so screwy if you don't. Just start a new world and pick the world that you want to start. Now, if you're going to use later, if you want to do like, you want to create a world with like, you know, SE, you know, world gen or whatever, that's a cool, maybe I'll do a different video that's a lot more detailed. But we're just going to do a regular star system for now. It's a default star system. And then we'll give it a name. So this will be like video test or setup. So you guys, and then you can set all these options here, which, you know, cool, whatever. I'm just going to create it. There's a million options, and you can set them after the fact too. So that's cool. You notice nothing populated, right? It's Torch weirdness. So save the config, close out Torch, run as administrator. Now you'll notice when you go back to the configuration tab, loads. So it loads your save file, right? Which is where it saves all your stuff. Is going to be an instances save. So from here in SE video, the folder that you created, right, for it, you're going to see there's your servers here, but your instances all get saved here. This is where all the magic is. Your server config file. Once you run it, there'll be a bunch of stuff, other stuff in here, and then the save file itself will be in here. All your planets and your sandbox config files. So anyway, this is where this is how the data structure works, right? So save stuff for your world is here under your instance folder, and your save files, right? So your save files are based on your world name or your world. So cool. So anyway, set up your stuff, set up your server name, your world name, put your administrator, which is your Steam ID, and put it in your administrator tag, right? So mine is that right there. You just want the ID there. So this is the thing, test server, and then you're gonna want to set up all these options, and there's a million options to set up. All right, so we're gonna save this config. Then we're gonna kill Torch. Run as administrator. And then we should see our save changes. There it goes. Okay. Configuration. Boom, here it is. Because what we want to do is we want to go to plugins, and we want to grab a couple plugins. This is going to be a really brief tutorial on plugins. I want grid backup, install that. Sure. And then you can just grab all the ones you want. And then restart it once. So we want that one, and we want grid ship fixer. That one. This adds a command that users can use when their ships get stuck or grounded and they won't move. Desynced hard kind of stuff. It basically cuts and pastes it. So we want that one, and then we want essentials. Floating objects is the other one we want. That one. We want that one. And that should be fine. Okay, so then we're going to kill this again. And we're going to launch it. Run as administrator. And this will load. And then we can configure these plugins via the GUI, or we can do it via text file. Most of them are easy to do just this way. This is all pretty straightforward. The defaults work really well. There are some tweaks you can make to them if you wanted. Essentials is you need to add. This is a little bit of a head pain in the ass because you need to add your configs for how you're going to handle things. You can do it here. You can add a thing and do the whole thing right, and tell it how you want to trigger it. But you have to look up all the commands and stuff. So I've got a really easy script or a really easy setup for the one I've done. And what we're going to do is we're going to close out. We're going to turn all these on. for floating objects. We're going to do that, and then we're going to close this out, and I'm going to show you how to edit it with the text file. So the files are located for this under your instance folder, right? Essentials config, right? Floating objects. These are where your plugin configs are for your server. So I'm going to edit this with like a notepad or whatever, whatever your editor is, Notepad++. And I'm going to just replace this with a file that I have already created, right? So this is going to restart the server twice a day. It's going to, an hour before, it's going to warn everybody, hey, the server's restarting in an hour. It's then going to restart it and give a countdown. And then it also does cleans up blocks, like floating blocks and junk garbage collection every, I think, 4 hours. So we're going to save that, and then we're going to relaunch Torch. And now we're finally ready to start the server. This, we haven't had any mods or anything. This is just straight up Space Engineers vanilla with Torch. Okay, so we go here, we can see everything's set up, everything's here. We got our plugins, and your C Essentials now has been populated with what it's doing, and you can, like I said, dig into these, look around, whatever. The wiki also for Essentials has all the commands and how to set it up and the triggers and how that works. Okay, so from here we just literally start the server, and you look in the log tab, you'll see it do its thing. Oh, this is going to come up. I'm going to allow access to everything because, for this video, it's just the firewall setting on your Windows box if you're using Windows. So it's going to come up and tell you, hey, just kind of push this to the firewall. Obviously, you need to, or it won't work. And this is just like my internal server to my network, right? If you're going to host publicly, you're going to need to set up firewall port forwarding or NAT rules to let the traffic in and out. Okay, so now the game is ready, and if I was to load Space Engineers from my other PC, I'd be able to log into it. So we've talked a little bit about how there's a lot of different settings for the server that you see in Torch here. And we want to go over this and really briefly go through it so you guys know which ones are kind of important and which ones aren't. The first part here is block limits. This limits the number of blocks in a world or players per blocks. It's all about block counts, or PCU. Each block in Space Engineers has a value, a PCU value. That's how much overhead it takes for that block. An armor block is, super low, like 1, whereas a programming block or a gyroscope, maybe more. It's quite a bit more than an armor block. It's a little more complicated. So this is like how many blocks and how much PCU you can have total. I've set these to 0. That's unlimited. This is a private server that works for me. It's a small server, just 2 people testing some mods. Other ones that are important that you should know about: environment hostility is how many asteroids you get, right? Like, so safe means none. Cataclysm is like, there's a lot of asteroids. And those things do a lot of damage. So that's what that's for. Again, we're testing mods on my server, so we set it to safe because we don't want those in the way. Other ones that are important: sync distance and view distance. These ones are important, especially if you use the modular encounters spawner mod. And any mods that use that framework to spawn encounters. You need to set this higher. Enable game scripts and enable or in experimental mode are required if you want to run scripts and have mods, so make sure those are set or it will not work. The other big one is going to be make sure your game mode is set correct, creative or survival. You're going to want to make sure that's a thing. And then the online mode matters a lot too. So if you set it to private or offline, that's fine. You will need to log in with your administrator credentials, which we went over. If you set it to public, anyone can join it. If you set it to public with a password, anyone can join it. They'll need a password right here, this password field. If you set this, you can create a group on Steam, invite your friends, get whoever you want in that, and you can set this to public. It'll only let people in the whitelist join, and it would give them a password. So you can set that up however you want. So if you're using modular encounters, you need to make sure you turn off the encounter stuff. So you're going to want convert to station, you do want, but you're going to want to disable encounters. So right here, encounter generator, all this stuff right here. Enable spiders, wolves, you want these off. Planetary encounters you want off, and cargo ships you want off, because MES will take care of those spawns. So I hope those settings are kind of going over this quickly. So hopefully this helps you guys out, and stay safe out there, engineers.